I am 23 years old, unemployed, and sleep all day while staying up all night. I have lost muscle and become skinnier. I weigh 107 pounds and feel fragile all the time. I need some motivation because I cannot take this anymore. Story 1. My first step would be to simply leave the house. I would go for long walks without any music or podcasts just to clear my head and allow thoughts that would otherwise be suppressed by phone and computer to come through. Make it a habit to leave your house every day, even if you do not want to. Then I would probably think about what I actually want to do in my life, what I am good at, and what I am missing to get the job I want. Story 2. All the time, I felt that I was either going to end my life or do something about my situation. I was leaning heavily towards suicide and even had a noose ready. However, I was too worried that I might fail, and more importantly, I knew it would deeply hurt many people dear to me. So, I began taking steps to change my life. Story 3, also 23, but this happened to me when I was 18. I realized that no one is coming to save me. As a man, if you are down, that is it. There is no marrying a rich husband or any neat trick like that. You have to realize that it is just you alone. And while that is sad in itself, it motivated me to get my life together. Story 4. One day I was sitting in my chair and I asked myself, who is going to carry the boats? Then I realized that no one would carry the boats unless I did. So I stood up. I am Boaticus. Story 5. I just got bored of gaming and doing nothing all day, and I was tired of feeling ashamed of the way I lived my life. I bought a notebook and started marking a daily streak of going to bed on time, working out, and doing something productive for at least 1 hour. Yes, 1 hour is not a lot, but you have to set achievable goals for yourself or you are bound to fail. Once you start a streak of a couple of days, it motivates you not to break it. It really helped me get back on my feet. Now I have a job, am in pretty good shape, and am also finishing my degree. Story 6. It starts by being honest with yourself. Do not lie to yourself by rationalizing excuses that are not the true reason why things are the way they are. Do you want more? Are you okay with living the way you do? Why do you want to change? What is preventing you from applying for a job at a fast food restaurant and starting from there? Are you depressed? Keep asking yourself and answer honestly. Then, think of immediate solutions to problems, things you can do today that will lead you toward that solution. Story 7. I am 31 years old. It happened to me when I was 24. I was without a driving license and job after university. I stayed at my parents' home unemployed because I was living in a small village in the middle of nowhere. One day, I realized that if I didn't move, I would stay there forever. For once, my parents couldn't do it for me. I got a job in a town 1 hour away from my village and rented a flat there. After a few years, I received an offer to work abroad in Switzerland. I moved there, met my girlfriend, and we are now living together, happy with my life finally sorted out. It is possible to sort things out, and it is never too late. Story 8. I met a woman and realized that there is more to life than being a loser and playing video games all day and night. Now my life is exactly what I always wanted it to be, with an amazing woman by my side, my dream job, and enough time to play video games if I want to. Story 9. Just realized no one was coming to help me. I was in my late 20s and I always had some hope someone would come to shake me off. No one will come for you. No one cares about you. The sooner you realize that, the better. Good luck. Story 10. I had that moment when I was 20 to 22 years old. I was really down, unmotivated, unemployed, and just very lazy. All my friends and family were on me, saying, "Go get a job. You're this many years old, and you do nothing." I mainly remember my older sister saying this, who I rarely saw or communicated with throughout my life, and I just ignored her. I stayed home and played video games all day, every day. One day, I went to my grandmother's apartment with my mom, dad, and other family members. We visited her somewhat often since she had a nursing aid and Alzheimer's disease. My godfather pulled me aside, along with my godbrothers, and told me about a program that helps young men in need of work and gives them free suits and support. The one thing they left out was that it was meant for young men involved in the justice system. I started attending a week later, To join, it was a 2-week course, and you had to do an interview with the owner of the program, who was also very wealthy. He knew I wasn't involved in the justice system, but considering I had already done the 2 weeks and he would have felt bad for kicking me out after staying that long, he accepted me in any way. The social workers there accepted me as well. They treated me like family and helped me as much as possible. There was one woman in particular I will never forget because she helped me the most. She was around my age and motivated me to just be better. Honestly, I got very lucky with that encounter, but I was also telling myself, you need to start doing better. I have been working and going back to school since then. I was in a relationship shortly after that whole experience, but yes. Story 11. It changed the day I admitted to myself that I was lazy and unemployed. The excuses could not explain why I felt like such a failure for being a grown man who did not have $2 to buy a soda at the gas station. Story 12. Set goals. I found this really important in developing discipline. You cannot rely on always having a mindset that is beneficial, for example, going to work on Monday after a fun weekend. Setting goals will help you focus on the long term, even when your mood is low. I also recommend being around successful people as much as possible because it influences you. You can learn their good habits, discipline, and positivity. You will benefit from just being around them. Story 13. Like many have mentioned, your issue is that you can be a slob. Most of us do not have the chance, whether due to the situation or choice. The steps have always been the same. 1. Get a job, any job that is legal and pays fairly. Get independence, house, room, whoever cares, whatever you can afford, it will be your place. Fight to maintain it. Be proud of what you accomplish and accept that going back to the past is not allowed, unless there is a massive emergency. This is a mentality change. For example, if your parents pay for your car, that means you do not have a car. You cannot be proud of that. Work to make it yours. Accept help when needed, but never give up your independence. You will build a life around it and you will grow. You will sacrifice a lot for your independence, but it will be worth it. Also, remember, a job can be just a place where you sell your time for money. Not everyone is career-minded, and that is fine. Right now, take anything and start looking for an upgrade immediately. Companies do not care about you. Use them and move around until you find a good spot where they pay well and treat you well. I left home at 18, moved to another country at 21, and never went back to my parents, even in tough moments. I am too proud for that. I asked for help only when it was very, very necessary. Nobody hesitated to help me then because I never asked for help before, or at least not constantly. Fight for your independence and be proud of yourself and every little gain and moment of happiness you create for yourself. Story 14. I need some motivation because I can't take this anymore. There's your answer right there. There's never going to be a perfect time or motivation, but if you're fed up, then there has never been a more perfect time. My dad said something to me when I was 16, and it stuck with me to this day. Boys do what they want to do. Men do what they have to do. I think about that from time to time. It's okay to struggle and it's okay to take a break and relax, but chances are you already know what that next step is. So just take it. Either find a purpose or give one to yourself. Men work best when we have a purpose or a use, and it sounds like you have a lot of free time on your hands, so put it to good use. Story 15. You will die like this. Don't set unrealistic expectations. Otherwise, you are setting yourself up for failure. Little steps, literally. Get out of the house one day for a 20 to 30-minute walk. The next day, do the same but take a different route. The following day, find a park to sit in and read for a while if the weather is nice. The next day, find a shop where you can spend some time, such as a bookstore or a coffee shop. Not sure what your job hunting routine looks like, but set a goal of calling, emailing, or checking in person at least once a day. The day after that, make 2 calls, send 2 emails, or follow up twice. You have to start somewhere. Story 16. You are stuck in a routine. You need to visit a city for a week, start applying for jobs there, and then come home and attend the job interviews. Get out of the loop. When you visit other places, you are more active and not focused on phone, television, or internet. You are out and about. Story 17. I survived my attempt. The doctor put me on lithium and jump-started my brain. Now I do honest work I care about and have spent the last several years improving my life. Story 18. It sounds like you are not eating well or getting outside for exercise. Try talking with friends and family about motivation and ask them to help you get out of the house. Consider speaking with a therapist or psychiatrist, as you may be experiencing depression. Sometimes it is not feeling sad, but a complete lack of motivation and a cycle of apathy and self-isolation. Story 19. I changed after several years of reminding myself that if I want to make a good life for myself, I have to get up and do something. Inspiring myself by listening to music or discussions and exposing myself to other people's opinions also helped, but mostly it was me thinking about it and saying, if I want a better life, then it is going to come down to me. I cannot wait around for the possibility that maybe someone will do it all for me. Story 2030, pretty demoralized, no change. The problem is not that I am not doing anything. The problem is that I am aging. Jobs should be automated and aging should be solved. Otherwise, there is no future for me. Story 21. This sounds like depression. I suffered from it around your age. I recommend talking to a therapist. It does not work for everyone, but it has the potential to be life-changing. Story 22. What has caused the unemployment? Is it a lack of opportunities or just a lack of personal motivation? Getting a job would be a great start, as it builds routine and a sense of purpose. If that is not possible, look for volunteering opportunities or online courses you can take. That keeps you distracted and learning new things. Whether you get a job or not, start by reorienting your routine entirely. Think about going to bed in the evening and waking up in the morning. Develop the routine slowly over time. For example, if you currently go to bed at 4 a.m., go to bed at 3 a.m. tomorrow, 2 a.m. next week, 1 a.m. the week after that, and before midnight after that. This gives your body time to adapt. Eat healthy 3 meals a day. This is necessary to prevent weight loss and feeling weak all the time. Choose protein-heavy meals such as eggs, fish, meat, milk, yogurt, peanut or any nut butter, protein smoothies, or chickpea pasta, as they fill you up better and build your body. I am a fan of canned tuna and rye bread. Both are easy to use and filling. Also, think about offering to help around the house with household tasks like cleaning and tidying. I have been in your position before, so I understand how it feels. Best of luck. Story 23. I got fired from a job, ended up getting behind on my bills. My car was repossessed, my license was suspended, and fines kept piling up month after month. Felt like I was just destined to be a failure. I took small side jobs, painted my mom's cabinets, helped build decks, physical jobs. I was about 23 or 24. I ended up waiting tables, learning to bartend, and always having a side gig building things like porches, additions, fences, whatever. But I focused on being the best at whatever I did. When I was promoted to bartender, I studied recipes, memorized jokes, read self-help books so I could offer bartender advice to those who asked, and I was very successful. I traveled whenever I wanted, had a passport stamped with trips to Europe, had a nice car, the whole 9 yards. After my kids were born, I wanted to step back from the demanding schedule that restaurants required. Then the pandemic hit. I got a commercial driver's license and started driving trucks. At 49, I had a mild stroke and lost my license, at least the commercial driver's license. After a string of scam jobs over the course of a year, I went back to my roots and got a job building sheds. Good money, not managed, I can take my time. It's demanding, but I finally found my thing. Situations can be tough, and it may seem like the end of the world when you're hungry, unsheltered, or depressed, crying regularly. Decent paying jobs are out there. Don't give up and don't forget that there's a learning curve. I absolutely struggled at every new job I tried, and it may sound cliche, but if you get a job that hires anyone and you hustle, the right people will notice and you can finally get ahead. Just accept that there's trial and error. Story 24. You need to approach each day as if you have multiple roles. When I was unemployed, I set an alarm every day, got up, showered, dressed, and prepared for my day. Some days your job is to look for work, search the internet for job listings, write cover letters, and so on. Other days might involve yard work and different tasks. Story 25. If you are unemployed, that means someone is supporting your lifestyle, which is an extra burden on that person. If you continue like this, you are in your comfort zone, and to get out of it, you need to be placed in a discomfort zone. Hunger and homelessness are great motivators to get out of your hole and do something about it. Your supporter needs to take action, cut you off, and let you start your life. Story 26. 1. Get a job. Any job. Get transportation. Many dealerships will work with no credit or bad credit. It is not the best choice financially, but if you are starting from scratch, a vehicle is the next important step once you have a place to stay. Story 27. Honestly, I am 37 and have always been lazy. I have been employed almost continuously since I entered the workforce in 2003, but only because I figured being homeless, hungry, and lazy would be a bad combination. I have no idea where my complete lack of motivation comes from. Story 28. For all the motivation, advice, and assistance, absolutely anything anyone can give you, you cannot help someone who will not help themselves. Will you be proud of your life if it ended this year? Do what makes you proud, even or especially if that is only being a little bit better than yesterday. Story 29. When my sleep all day cycle meant I did not see daylight for a month and left me completely depressed. I missed hanging out with friends because I drifted so far out of sync with them and the whole world. Story 30. It feels so good to see young men gaining self-motivation at an early age, between 16 and 24. Then there is me, who enjoyed his whole 20s and now finds himself stuck in a job where I do not earn as much as I should be earning at this age. I am going to turn 30 in a few days. I have set a goal and am now working on it. To the young men, do not waste your time. Learn how to communicate, talk with different people, have empathy, be humble, and speak politely. This will guide you in life and attract attention from top earners. Story 31. I was 22, in my university final year. I always wanted to freelance but never stuck with it long enough to actually earn anything. This time I decided enough is enough. I had to do something, this time for real. My parents were paying for my tuition and pocket money. I lied to them that I had started freelancing and was at least able to earn my pocket money, so they would not worry. Then I became desperate and had to figure it out, and I did. Essentially, I made my goal my survival, so I was able to do it. Maybe you can use a trick like that on yourself too. Story 32. My mother became ill. I have to take care of her because I am the only one available. I am currently unemployed, but I received some financial assistance from the government to support her care. Hiring a home nurse is too expensive, and she is not yet in a condition where hospice care would be more appropriate, which would also be very costly. Story 33. Sounds cliché, but a podcast really helped me. It's called the Thinking Mind Podcast, recommended to me by a friend. I just picked a couple of episodes related to self-development and motivation. Lower the bar in your mind for success. Then do 1% more than that every time you try. Good luck. You got this. The most important step is simply the next one. Story 34. At 19, I got my girlfriend pregnant, and I had no choice but to take responsibility and face the consequences. Moving forward means leaving something behind, whether it is bad habits or fear of the unknown. You learn more through struggles than you ever could by being inactive. Nothing changes if nothing changes. You have this. Story 35. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think you are just describing laziness. You are describing symptoms. You should start experimenting with therapists. Find someone who can help you figure things out. Story 36. Believe it or not, simply getting up and taking a shower will clear your mind. I knew it was time to change when I ended up in a shelter. I was 30 years old. I had not really done anything to deserve it. I had worked all my life, but I lost my job and my family left me out in the cold. Story 37. Unemployment is not laziness nor a moral failure. Getting a job in this climate is very difficult, especially if you are not an expert in a field with years of experience but just a student. I know people who have sent out hundreds of job applications and have failed to get even an interview because there can be tens of thousands of applicants for a job where only 5 people are ultimately selected. Story 38. Your parents need to stop enabling you. It is simple. Just get a job, any job, and build from there. Story 39. There is still plenty of time to change. You just need to do it, or you will be a failure by the time you are 30. Story 40. I have a 21-year-old colleague who told me he was in the same situation. He started feeling useless after 2 years and decided to find a job. Story 41. I think it is only reasonable to work towards laziness. What I mean is, let doing nothing or playing video games be the reward, the motivation. I am in love with gaming and technology. I hope to get a brain implant to play if my hands or eyes fail. But I know I cannot dive deep into my hobbies unless I make room for them. I make the decision every single day to remove myself from my paradise so I can work to get there and be comfortable in it. Not use it to hide or distract. It is a vacation due to success, not a hideout to evade the inevitability of life heading straight your way. Story 42. There was a time in my mid-20s when I went through this. By then, I had been working for about 10 years and was just tired, so I took a break. That break ended up lasting longer than I expected due to the banks crashing from the subprime mortgage crisis around 2008. I guess you could say I was lucky that I was still living at home at the time, but I did not want to be there. I was also fortunate to have reconnected with an old friend during that time, and he saw how depressed I was at home. He welcomed me and let me stay at his place for a while until I got back on my feet. I think I lived with him and his sister for 1.5 to 2 years before enough things fell into place for me to move out. Story 43. You already have the seed of motivation you need since you came here and are self-aware of what is going on. The trick is to balance being kind enough to yourself while being strict enough to get yourself back on track. Brainstorm some goals that are reasonable for you to reach in your current state. Do not benchmark your expectations against other people. The key to getting better is to improve sustainably. The more you get back on track, the better you will feel, creating a harmonious cycle. Also, a good first step is to identify the things that are blocking you from achieving your goals or creating roadblocks in general. If you fail at something or break a habit you want to form, forgive yourself. It is okay to make mistakes. It is not okay to fail to learn from them. After all, doing the same thing and expecting something different is the definition of insanity. When you have trouble with something, start tracking it and become self-aware in the moment you start to slip up. Learn the details of how and why you start messing up, and take action to prevent those triggers from happening. It is not a big deal if you mess up once. That should not make the rest of your day feel impossible to do anything productive. Working the night shift can make it hard to get good quality sleep, so ideally you want to transition to a day schedule. Even just a couple of hours a day is fine. You are still quite young, and physically you will have no issue recovering once you start treating your body well, exercising a bit, and having appropriate nutrition. Do not worry about applying for jobs yet unless there is an emergency where you need money in the short term. That will come after you are a bit better off and have reached a comfortable pace. Eventually, you will find a pace you are comfortable with, which is the goal. Story 44. You are right at the perfect age to make the choice to be a man. Lean into work and seek growth in all areas. However, also find contentment with your shortcomings. You cannot be perfect, but do a little more today. Story 45. How much harder it is to save later in life if you have been broke or unemployed for a long time. It takes twice as long to save for big things, and you are constantly playing catch-up. Story 46. My situation was compounded by alcoholism. I would get blackout drunk 3 or 4 times a week and experience withdrawal symptoms the rest of the time, including cold sweats, shaking, and extremely high anxiety. It was not fun. I woke up one day and decided I could not live like this anymore. I made it to a week sober and felt great. 2 weeks was even better. You need to decide. If you do nothing, nothing will change. If you do not take control of your life, who will? Story 47. I am 23 and I am going through this right now. I have an interview this upcoming Wednesday, and if I do not get this job, I will be crushed. Lately, I have been trying to move around more by going on walks, sitting outside, and forcing myself to study for the medical college admission test for medical school applications. I feel like I am slowly coming out of my depression. The most important thing that has kept me from going completely insane has been having a clear plan of what I want to do with my life. It has kept me grounded. I suggest you start going on walks every day with no music or distractions. Just walk, appreciate nature, sit by a tree, and cry if you need to. Think about what you want to do in life. If you do this enough, answers will slowly start coming to you. Story 48. All you can do is apply for as many jobs as possible. If you are lucky, you might get a job quicker than most people. Volunteering can be a good option if you are struggling to find work and do not want to go to college or return to college at the moment. It will look good on your resume, you will gain skills, meet like-minded people, and, on the positive side, get out of the house more often. I am considering volunteering. I am not sure where yet, but I have worked at a food pantry before with my family, helping kids get meals for lunch. I enjoyed it. If I am unable to find a job, I will definitely consider volunteering as an alternative until I find a permanent way to make a living. Story 49. Lived the same way, graduated from the best university in the country, did not have motivation to learn or prepare for interviews, so obviously did not land any job. Slept all day, stayed up late, but walked a few miles once every 2 days. Now 26, still lacking motivation, but luckily landed a government job that pays slightly above minimum wage and does not require an interview, only multiple tests. The negative thoughts do not go away, but my mind is somewhat occupied by day-to-day work. Makes me wonder if I will ever have any life motivation. Story 50. Motivation should come from wanting to feel good. There is no secret motivation to get healthy and improve your life. You just have to want to make things better and then work towards doing so by whatever means you believe will be most successful for you. The approach will be different for everyone. For me, it started with taking better care of my health, mental health through therapy and sleep, and physical health through exercise, which made me feel better on a daily basis. Then, finding productive ways to improve other areas of my life, such as education, job, and relationships, became easier when I did not feel poorly due to mental and physical health issues. Story 51. I was 22 and needed to get a job. All I got were bad ones. After a while, I tried my luck in sales and earned enough to finally go to college. Story 52. Not a man. I second the advice of going for a walk. Additionally, at 107 pounds, you may want to get a checkup with your doctor to make sure there is not something going on physically that is contributing to your tiredness. Make an appointment, get some blood work done, and be honest with them about how you have been feeling. Story 53. It's fine, man. You have plenty of time. Think about it. You have the best of the best. No responsibilities, nothing to hold yourself accountable to. You've let go of all that rat race nonsense. No one expects anything from you. Nothing holds you down. Nothing takes your time. You have all the peace and freedom in the world. Your phone, the reels, and the video games. Pure, dilute happiness. You can feel it every day, right? Believe me, responsibilities are a burden. You cannot choose when you go to sleep, they take a lot of time, they make you a slave to the system, and at the end of the day, they are only needed because otherwise we die. Nothing feels as good as a week gone by without any significant growth, challenges, or productivity, right? That's your experience, right? The more you let go of obligations, of friends depending on you, of a relationship demanding your time and effort, of work demanding consistency, the more fulfilled and happy you feel. That's your experience, right? Story 54. Just get any job for the time being and go from there. The job will give you structure and money. That structure and money can then be used to get a trainer and go to the gym. I have to emphasize get any job right now because the job market is terrible. Work at Amazon, warehouse, retail, or restaurant until you can find something better. Story 55. Probably at the point you are calling yourself lazy and your body is atrophying, you already know. But as far as how to change, as others have said, just physically leave the house every day, either for a walk or a drive. If you have a little land available, I highly recommend starting a garden. I have never really cared for gardening, but I started one this spring, and my mental health has improved significantly. Story 56. When you realized no one was going to help you, I tried to take daily walks and find any job I could at that point. Story 57. Hey man, you may have some symptoms of depression. I suggest talking to someone to work through this. Best of luck. Story 58. It sounds like you have a proper, full-blown depression. Get professional help. It's hard to do alone, very hard. Start by trying to get to a place to be at 9 a.m. somewhere that needs you. Volunteer work. Maybe anything you care about that feels meaningful on some level. Go outside and do something nice every day. Even something simple like a walk in the park and 30 minutes on a bench in the sun with a coffee or whatever. Try to be around people in a social setting every day. Do it even if you don't want to. Fix your sleep schedule. Don't worry too much about when you go to bed. Set alarms. Get up. Suffer through it. Repeat. Shower every day, preferably in the morning. Prepare food for yourself, even something low effort like scrambled eggs. Shave. Get a haircut. Get help. Church, medical center, whatever you can access. Story 59. Also 23. The big thing for me was taking baby steps. You cannot turn your life around in one go. You need to break it down to make it manageable. I started setting up a new good habit maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. For me, it was brushing my teeth and flossing twice a day. After a while, it had become so ingrained in my routine that I could start ingraining other habits like going on a long walk twice a week without forgetting to floss because I had gotten used to it. Story 60. I joined the Marines, and my sergeant disciplined me severely for being lazy. It turned out that this was a great incentive to improve myself. Story 61. Di mo na kaya pero wala kang motibasyon? Hindi ba iyong panahon para magbago ka na? Ganito, kapatid ko. Puro lang gusto kong mabdit, gusto kong magbago. Pero wala naman talagang pagbabago. Mana potek na yen. 35 na atasiya, may anak pa. Libros honta sabae, gesto naman sa utilities. Motivasyon, bumangon ka diyan. Story 62. I was 16 and unemployed. I had a lot going on at the time, just not working. I did not have time to be lazy though. I was dating the girl I loved and was top of my year in addition to my extracurricular activities. To tell the truth, I was a little bored. I figured a few extra hours of work was not all bad. Story 63. I could never work for others. I've had several jobs, ranging from fast food to construction. I decided maybe I'd do better if I worked for myself. I had many days where I couldn't push myself enough to do it even though business was booming. It was at that point that I realized that, at least for now, I would have to work for others. I've been fortunate enough to have landed a job as a machinist with no experience. I learned a lot from that workplace and have now moved on and up, I get paid more now, but I work more. I'm not complaining, as it is still a great job. It's not in an industry that is ideal for what I plan to do in the future, but I still enjoy it. I have always enjoyed learning. School didn't push me enough and I got bored easily. With this job, you are always having to learn and grow in a challenging way as well. I get to see products go from raw material into a fully finished product and then see pictures of the installations and how they look fully finished. To me, that is satisfying. It may sound cliché, but find what you are interested in. Apply to those types of jobs. I didn't know what I was interested in until just a couple of years ago, and that was at 32. Don't be discouraged if you do not know. Just use the current job as an opportunity to find what you are truly interested in. Story 64. My account was in the negatives and I got a flat tire. I had to ask my mother for money, and that was it for me. Also, going to rent court that same month was the icing on the cake. Story 65. You probably have a cushion that your parents are providing and supporting you. If you have no safety net like that, you become a different person. Story 66. It gets boring, and you realize you are actually more capable. Eventually, you have to buy the necessities. Story 67. I am lazy and unemployed. My days are packed, and I am active. When I work, I try to find the most efficient way to do so. You can go far by being lazy and focused. Find something you can tolerate and optimize it fully. Story 68. The good news is you are 23. You still have time to turn your life around, and you are seeking help, which is a good sign. If you start to turn your life around right now, you are still okay and will probably be on par with your peers. If you procrastinate any further, You will probably never recover and will blame others for not helping, as is tradition. Your best option at this stage in life is to get a trade job. White-collar jobs seem to be oversaturated at the moment and will take 4 to 7 years for you to be established. Get a job, become friends with coworkers, go out and enjoy life on weekends, start saving the money you earn, and feel like a champ. Story 69. When I accepted that without at least a basic job with benefits, I would not be able to live how I want. I am still lazy, but I do what I have to in order to maintain my lifestyle. It is not really about motivation, but the discipline to just do or die, literally. Story 70. I think the first goal to start should be to quit pornography. Aim for 18 days completely clean and also abstain from ejaculation. I know this may be an odd comment, but I think you will be surprised by the clarity and energy you will feel, which can compound into your next changes. Story 71. When I was 18, I got kicked out of college. I got bored of playing Xbox all day and got a job. I was fed up with having to ask for money. Story 72. I'm curious what led you to this point in the first place. No motivation, no ambition, no thirst for life. I am a 36-year-old woman and have never had the option of relying on anyone else to pay my way. I've had days when I was lazy but never gave myself the option to waste away at home. Maybe you need to stop thinking of that as an option. If you want a fruitful life, you have to make it for yourself. That goes for every one of us. Story 73. I know a man who was 28 years old and lazy, still living in his mother's house. He smoked marijuana every night, went to bed at 5 a.m., woke up at 2 p.m. every day, weighed 125 pounds, very skinny, with little savings. Basically, a failure in every aspect of his life. He applied to jobs, but because he never received replies, he lost motivation and sank deeper into the decline. Eventually, he realized that lifestyle was unsustainable. He wanted to save money and retire around age 50, believing he was still young enough to make it happen, but only if he started now. He applied to the United States Navy and quit using marijuana. It was very tough to meet the standards to get into the military, but after a year, through sheer luck, he got in and served a 3-year stint as an electronics technician. After that, he left and entered the private defense industry and started making good money. He is now 36 years old and recently completed an internal transfer to an office overseas because he wanted to live the expatriate lifestyle. He seems very happy with his life now. Story 74. On another note, how do people manage to live a completely sedentary lifestyle and not gain weight? When I have a lot of free time and don't know what to do, you can be sure I have a meal or two out of boredom. Story 75. I needed money to buy the new Magic, the Gathering crossover universe collaboration. Now I am lazy and employed. I was planning to buy groceries this afternoon, but instead napped for 16 hours. Story 76. I know all the attractive women have unreliable boyfriends. If you were that person, you would not be depressed. Get a decent job and build your credit. Women appreciate a good credit score and stable employment. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.